Avoidance is important during class time, but I think beyond that, we have to have kids thinking about what the potential harms are. So the best trend out there is to be focused on helping students think intentionally about how to use technology responsibly and to be in dialogue with students. I think AI has opened up a lot of conversation with students. So that's a positive trend. Have conversations. That's really the best way to go about it.
You're listening to the smartsocial.com podcast. This is our District Talk segment where we interview district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media. And we also ask them questions that we get from parents all over the country in our program. Now, let's get back to the interview.
Hi, I'm Anthony Godfrey. I'm the superintendent for Jordan School District. We're located in the southwest corner of Salt Lake County in Utah. We have about 56,000 students and 68 schools.
Superintendent, it's so great to have you here today. And hello to our audience, whether you're a parent in the audience or a superintendent or anyone in between, maybe a guardian, maybe you're a grandma or grandpa helping your kiddos to grow up in this digital world. We're here for you. We're about to share some tips and techniques. There'll be no shame in this episode. If you're not able to do a few of the things we suggest, they're a guidance. They're a menu of suggestions you can select from in the future if you wish to do so. What we're about to share seems to work nationwide for families. And again, if it's not the right fit for you now, you can set it aside. But we're excited to talk about how to keep your kids safe on social media so they can someday be successful. And what does success look like? We're getting them to shine online so they build an amazing online brand. They can get that dream job, career, and everything else using the new digital tools, whether they're AI or creating a positive Instagram profile. So when a company or college sees them, that they're shining online. Okay, Superintendent, I'm excited to ask you a few questions. I want to get started with a little bit of background on what we do here at this podcast. After 200 plus superintendent conversations with your peers, I think we're at 205 right now, across 40 to 41 states, all these conversations I've had over the last 2 years, we've heard a consistent trend, and I'd love your feedback on this, Superintendent. We're hearing that students are growing up in a digital world filled with powerful tech, AI, and social media. Now, Superintendent, in your community, you may have little angels running around, perfect children, but in others, we're hearing that nationwide, some of these students might lack the maturity and guidance to use it safely. And the result can be more student absences, lower focus, rising cyberbullying, declining self-esteem sometimes, and AI misuse perhaps in the classroom. On the other hand, parents are trying to raise good kids in a world they didn't grow up in. In a world where tech moves faster than safety policies, teens know how to hide apps and online behavior, and safety lessons sometimes can come after a crisis. Superintendent, I'd love your feedback. Are there any other trends on this topic that you've seen so we can alert other school districts before they see them?
Well, AI is the big trend lately, of course, that students are able to use that to enhance their learning, but also to replace their learning if they don't use it properly. And I like what you said earlier about how, students are able to hide apps. There's a whole different lingo that students use, but that's always been the case. There's always been a little bit of a hidden subculture with teens in particular. I've seen a lot of technology shifts over the years in education. As a new principal, one of the first tasks I had was to replace the chalkboards in my school with whiteboards. And they just brought the whiteboards in and bolted them right over the chalkboard. That's how long ago I was a principal at the beginning. But what we have to do, I think, is make sure that we're talking with students about how to be responsible online, whatever the technology happens to be. If our training and our admonishments and our instruction to them are centered around only specific technologies, then what we've taught them will be quickly outdated. Just like, the metaphor I use for the unsolvable problem is high school dress code. No matter how you change dress code, dress will adapt to that. No matter how specific you get, there'll be something that goes around the rules. So we do need to be specific about the way that students are using technology and talk about programs and devices. But we really, more than that, need to talk about protecting students and how they need to behave personally in order to keep themselves safe. And so the positive trend is that I think we've been able to focus more on how students can responsibly use technology. Avoidance doesn't help us. Avoidance is important during class time. Jordan School District, in accordance with state law, but even before the state law was put in place, does not allow students to use cell phones during class time. But I think beyond that, we have to have kids thinking about what the potential harms are. So the best trend out there is to be focused on helping students think intentionally about how to use technology responsibly and to be in dialogue with students. I think AI has opened up a lot of conversation with students. So that's a positive trend. Have conversations. That's really the best way to go about it.
Mhm.
And as you said at the beginning of the podcast, it's important not to have judgment be an ingredient in that recipe, in that conversation. Understanding has to come first because there are always going to be things we don't know about exactly how a particular individual is using the web. So we just have to help them be thoughtful about it.
I love that. I'm taking notes. I get to learn from you. I like how you said there's a hidden subculture, and that's been around. I mean, parents are listening. If you ever listen to the Beach Boys, there's a hidden subculture just in that surf community. They go way out, far out, whatever those words were decades and decades ago. We have them now, but unfortunately, they're online, right? There's hashtags, there's all these other things, which is interesting. And you also said the high school dress code. This is what we're going to attain, and kids will work around it. We've all seen the episodes of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when Will Smith was really young. He used to wear, they say you will wear your jacket to the private Bel-Air school. Do you remember how he would wear it inside out?
Yes.
He's like, I'll wear it, but he, exactly what you said, he wore it inside out. And they're like, well, we can't really tell him no.
Right.
It was very vibrant, right?
Yeah. No, it's a great reference. And an email with bullet points and a deeper explanation or a video about what you can and can't do won't be enough, because part of the teen brain wants to figure out where the boundaries are and where they can push. And so we have to really go back to values and how you're going to protect yourself and the possible negative outcomes rather, instead of talking about, oh, well, here's the technical aspect of this rule that you need to understand better.
And for all of our audience who works at a company, maybe you have people you manage, we all know that if you can get really technical about things, but what the superintendent just said, go back to values and outcomes. Our goal is this. And then people will strive to maybe hit that goal, help you, rather than getting too technical about breaking those rules. I love that. And I love how you said judgment is not an ingredient in this recipe. That's a great way to say that.
It just makes more sense to talk with kids about where they are and help them take the first step to where we hope they will end up. And judgment just puts up a wall instantly over that. And proclamations about what it used to be like for us or how technology's changed or trying to connect through our own experience. First of all, that's just bad listening, where the first thing you want to say is talk about your own experience. But it also doesn't make sense in a world that changes as rapidly as the world of technology does. So just genuine listening, genuine curiosity, where you actually want to know the answers. That's where we're going to understand the trends and that underground culture.
Yeah.
I got advice from my son. I said, I want to say something in the graduation speech this year that shows that I kind of understand the lingo. And there are lots of terms that are thrown around that adults, try to use. And he said, well, an old person online is called unk. And I'd never heard that. So I said to the class, you may wonder what unk has to share that can help you. And I got all these laughs from the class because they were surprised that I understood that word. I had no clue. Without having my 16-year-old navigate that world for me, there was no way in. And that's true about technology as well. As soon as we think we know, we're behind. We've lost if we think that we're on top of things. So
yeah, it's a constant learning. That's really fascinating and so true. So to all of our listeners here, we reach a couple million people a year here, and we get a lot of parent questions. One of the parent questions we get is, Josh, what advice would you give a student to help them recognize some of the red flags of a dangerous stranger online? Well, let's hear from a real teen about how she might help a friend of hers recognize the red flags if that friend was chatting with someone online.
If I had a friend talking online to a stranger, I think that I would feel a little bit uncomfortable with the whole situation. I would advise against it because so many indirect issues can come from that, and it could cause something to be worse than if they had just unadded them in the first place. Some red flags that I would have to advise them to cut it off with this person or to stop engaging would be if the person starts to get very involved in their personal life and they seem to be very intrigued in what's going on with them and wanting to know all little details about what they do and on who they are and just very personal details and things that you wouldn't normally share with a stranger in real life. If they're very persistent and constantly wanting to talk to my friend or constantly trying to be involved in their life or wanting to speak to them, I feel like that's kind of a red flag. Another thing would be if they ask them to ever meet them anywhere in person right from the start, if they feel a sense of being uncomfortable or their intuition is just saying it's wrong, or if my intuition is saying something feels wrong with this, then I think that's a major red flag.
Parents, remember, if your school district is a partner of ours, we'd love to invite you to our online virtual weekly live parent events and replays. We have real teens in the program. Every live event has teen presenters, as you just saw, and we have a premium parent newsletter. We want to show you what happens when you come to these. Not only are there amazing giveaways, but also we're going to show you in New York what happens. We've been on the news 34 times. Here's just one of these little stories.
Parents and teachers know when it comes to teenagers and social media, that's easier said than done. So in an effort to protect students from the dangers of being chronically online, schools are doing something you might not expect, asking parents to get online too.
It makes an awareness to parents and students. It also gives them an understanding of some of the warning signs.
That's just one reason why Deron Wilson, an executive director of school engagement, says his district uses the app Smart Social. It's an online app designed to educate parents and students on how to avoid strangers and dangerous situations online.
Kind of like, I want to say, a trap. When you get involved in the cyberbullying, you might start friending somebody on an app, or somebody might say, hey, they might send me your picture.
Smart Social founder Josh Oakes says while there are a lot of things that can and should scare us online, the increased number of parents he is able to reach underscores the importance of growing social gathering spaces online.
Back in the day, I used to be one of the top social media safety speakers nationwide, but I was flying around to certain school districts and they're the best of intentions, but only 20 or 30 parents would show up. We get 10 times the amount of parents to show up, and they want to learn from the convenience of their home or office how to keep their kids safe on social media. They want to ask live questions. They want to learn how to have dialogue starters with your kids that actually get their kids excited about talking with their parents and strengthening that relationship.
Darcy Wertique, Spectrum News.
Parents, remember, your school district has partnered with us to host all of these events all year long. And I want to just show you real quick, as you go through smartsocial.com, on the front, we have app guides on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox, Netflix, WhatsApp, and more. 450 of them you can search on our website. In addition, we do 50 to 60 live events a year, whether it's avoiding strangers, AI family workshop, tools to build smarter routines, habits, and goals. This is a big one. It's live. All of them are live, but reducing arguments. And then as we go back into school, we've got a lot of live, really neat stuff. Parents, remember that if you have any friends that speak other languages, all of our replays are not only well produced, but also they're in 12 different languages, so no one is left behind. Okay, we're back over with our guest expert, Superintendent. In addition, as I've talked to these 205 of your peers nationwide, 40 to 41 states, we've heard some other information from communities I'd love to get your input on. We're hearing that many parents feel overwhelmed trying to keep up with fast-moving online trends and digital safety risks. They mean well, but we're also hearing that students are finding ways to increase their screen time and bend the rules, especially when the expectations at school can differ significantly from those at home. Superintendent, what trends or pain points are you seeing when it comes to parent engagement? And where do you feel families are perhaps struggling the most to stay informed or connected?
Well, we always are doing whatever we can to try to stay connected with families. I think we lost that during the pandemic in ways that highlighted just how important families are to us. And connecting with parents is essential. And I know that parents are getting a deluge of messages. And I remember that one student at graduation at the end of 2021 celebrated that it meant they would get no more emails from the district because he was graduating. No more Jordan School District emails. The bullet points, it's difficult. So I think that for parents, it's really spending time with whatever your district and school's communication tools are to be sure that you understand how you can set those parameters and make sure that that communication is coming through. We really want to connect with parents. We want that close partnership with families. And I think to the extent that parents can just take a few minutes to understand whatever the district's platform is, then they can screen out what they don't need and connect more easily with what they do. And, these days, parents can peer into grade books and understand attendance and get a lot of information from districts. But if it's not managed well and you don't understand how you can set your own parameters, then it can be frustrating how frequently or perhaps infrequently you get information. You can adjust it so it's just right if you work closely with your school and district.
That's a great tip too. I like that. And listening, I mean, for all of our superintendents listening right now, I think that's a really good tip is what's our unsubscribe rate? I mean, I guess parents don't really, it's a little harder for them to unsubscribe, but what's our feedback? Maybe there's a little PS like, hey, reply back. Did you like this email or vote on it? Or are there some communications with parents that get the most positive feedback? Like, is it text messages? Is it, hey, your kid has a recital tonight. Everybody come out and support the kiddos?
Yeah, I think text messages through whatever platform you're able to do that. And it's helping parents understand, and for parents to do a little bit of research with the district and ask some questions. When there's an emergency, what can I expect? When there's more of a routine and announcement, what can I expect? So what will I receive by email? What will I receive by text? When will I receive an automated phone call? In what circumstances can I expect that? And where can I find messages if I feel like I've missed one? But really setting the parameters can save a lot of frustration. Whatever format a district is using, you can adjust those to your personal needs. And that will make a big difference, I think, because if you get too many messages, you start ignoring them and then you miss the important ones.
Yeah, so well said. Parents, the superintendent made a really cool line earlier for all of our audience. It was hidden subculture. I want to show everybody in the audience right now something that's put us on the news. And this is free for all of our listeners and viewers. If you go to smartsocial.com, you roll over resources. We have the 430 plus teen slang emojis and hashtags, which I'll click on. And this page, again, you can see us on the news talking about this. And this is really what the superintendent said is the hidden subculture. We teach on the emoji meanings, popular teen slang, dangerous hashtags, social media acronyms, social media terms, video game slang. And it doesn't mean that some of these acronyms, if your kid uses it, that it means something. But if it's out of context, at least you get an idea. My son keeps saying, that's the GOAT. What is the GOAT? What's the greatest of all time? Right? There's all kinds of different things here. We want you to be aware and ahead of everything. And so these are some different, I'm adulting, and that's something that means to grow up and act responsibly. My kid keeps saying the word low key, and it's a warning that what they're saying isn't something they want everyone to know. I low key, right? I mean, that's something we're hearing a lot from teens. Parents, that's here for you as a resource if it can be of help. Superintendent, thank you so much for your time here today. We really appreciate it. You're busy. You got a lot going on. We appreciate your time.
It's been a pleasure talking with you, Josh. Thanks.
Thank you. And to all of our audience, remember what you're posting online. Consider making it light, bright, and polite because your kids are watching what you're modeling online. We'll see all of you on the next episode. I'm Josh Oakes, the founder of smartsocial.com. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks for listening to the smartsocial.com podcast. Smart Social helps parents understand technology and social media to keep their kids safe and successful. Be sure to join one of our weekly online live events to become the smartest parent on the block so you can keep your kids safe and protect their future. Also, don't miss our 450 plus online resources and replays you can watch on demand in multiple languages. Are you a school district wanting to unlock these resources for your parents? Reach out to us so we can protect your whole community each week. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you on the next episode.